Hey, I'm Will, CEO of Exa. We're building a search engine for AI agents. This is Ajit, head of Firefox. They're building an open and healthy internet. And I was so excited when we first met because the values are so aligned. Like we want an open and healthy AI ecosystem, and so do you guys. And there's so much to build here, and this is just the beginning.
I'm excited about our partnership with Exa, which is powering two really important features that we're launching within Firefox. One is on iOS, we have this great feature called Quick Answers, which helps users use a voice assistant to get whatever they're interested in really quickly. The other feature that we have is we have a great interface within Smart Windows, which allows someone to, again, access the internet in a more chat-based way. And with that, we're using Exa to power all our up-to-date search grounding, retrieval to give people great results that they're looking for.
And we're honored to power you guys. I'm curious, when you hear open and healthy internet, like what does that mean to you?
Yeah, for us, one of the benefits of the internet was that it created this level playing field where everyone could come up with a great idea and have access to billions of people around the world. And over time, you see that things have been consolidated with big tech players. And the problem with that is that these gatekeepers then make decisions on what's best for users and whether that's through like app store fees or whether that's like this content can be available or not available. And for us, that's not what the internet was built for. The internet was built for this like egalitarian, like best ideas can surface. People can connect with things that they care about. And so that's the reason why Firefox exists. We are a product that's backed by a nonprofit organization. And we have the singular goal of creating the best browser that allows people to connect directly with the creators and the content that they care about.
Firefox has been around for a long time, from the early internet to now, and obviously a lot has changed in technology. But I think a lot of the initial like desire to have an open ecosystem where not a few players dominate for the internet is even more true with AI, right? It seems like there's a lot of centralization of power. So I think the stuff that you guys are working on is even more important in this world. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of people take how things exist now as like for granted. Like this is just the way it would shape up. If you look 20 years ago, like there were closed ecosystems like AOL where everything was done within an ecosystem and you had to be a customer in order to connect with others. Then the internet came and that led to the emergence of many of the biggest tech companies today were made possible because they didn't have gatekeepers. Duopolies, I think, are in many ways like the worst. And so for us, like we're super excited about like open systems, like open source systems, competition. And so I think that for us, it's like critical that there's not a single player that wins, but that many players are out there. And also that it's easy to access all those players. And we think that that's where the browser is a really powerful like entry point. And so when we've been thinking about AI, we're not building homegrown AIs. We're really looking at how do we make it so that you can use whatever AI is aligned to your own personal interests and values.
Yeah, it's like choice is maybe the critical word. It's like you should have choice over every part of the experience, and you need an open ecosystem for that. You need like a distributed ecosystem. We believe very similar things at Exa. So Exa is an infrastructure company. Like we provide search as infra to whoever wants it. This is very different from like a couple of companies having a search engine. Our philosophy is actually we want to raise all ships. We have open models, right? And that's great. But there's no open search engine because it doesn't even make sense because it costs a lot of money to run a search engine. So like Exa is doing the work of running the infrastructure to run a search engine and then providing it as an API to whoever needs it. And so like we have all sorts of companies using us, like some using open source, like all sorts of different open source models, also even frontier models. We also care a lot about choice. And so like as an infrastructure company, it's like very aligned with what we do.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we're really, really excited about a partnership with Exa, because when we first started building Smart Windows, you can see a lot of the queries that users are looking for. And a lot of open source models are good at a subset of those, and they're great because they're cheap. But then there's so many queries like, what are the favorite restaurants? And we were running these and we're like, all these restaurants are shut down. Like, they were shut down 3 years ago. These are like bad results. It's like, we don't have the latest information. And these are queries that people are asking AI for. And so for us, like we were like, okay, we need this information. And exactly what you're saying is it's so expensive and difficult to build a search engine. Like it takes a lot of resources. It takes a lot of like expertise. And that's not our business. But this is like this things, we need this capability. And so that's why when we started taking X, we're like, this satisfies all the needs. Like it is aligned with our values. It's easy to use. It's great APIs. Like we can plug it in really quickly. And I think like all the integrations that we had, we got up and running within months. And I think that's like been very clear in just the quality that we're able to respond versus open models. Versus open models with Exa, such better results that we're seeing.
Yeah, and our teams have been working quite closely together. I think that's another feature of like a search infra company is like we're B2B, we work with our customers, and like you influence the product direction, right? So like if you like that's the thing, like if you want, certain types of restaurants crawled more, we could do that kind of thing. Whereas like you can't do that with bigger players. So there's a lot of control that we can give you, we give our users, and that's also part of our like the values of the company. It's like just give people control over the information that they get. Because there's a lot of, the world's information is massive and ever changing, and there's so much customization you could do. It's not one search fits all, like at all. You want customizability at every layer of the stack.
And another big thing for us is when we're trying to see like how do we stand apart as a company, we really look at it as we want to be the most trusted company. And we're able to do that because we don't have ulterior motives. And I think with that is, in order to build trust, you have to be able to show people like what's happening. And with Exa, like we can do like attribution, we can show like results, we can show like how we're recommending things. And then that like helps a lot with this like transparency that a lot of times with like these black box AI models, like you really just don't know, should you trust, is it hallucination? And with the grounding, it really helps with the trust factor as well.
One thing I could say about Exa search is like our mission and our incentives are exactly aligned, which is that like we have no ads, so we don't monetize attention. We're purely trying to give the highest quality information to our users.
Yeah,
because that's what makes users lower, right? So it's very, and I think that's really important because you want to know where a company's going, look at the incentives. So like, we are incentivized to provide businesses and users with exactly the information they need at every query. I've personally been thinking about these problems about information and control of what you see like for a very long time. I would say even since I was a kid, like since high school, I wanted to build a new type of news organization because I always thought it was like ridiculous that we can't have like control over the kind of news we get. Or it's like we're very biased towards what certain companies give us. And 5 years ago is when we started Exa, and the reason was because we saw that there was an opportunity because of transformers. There was an opportunity to build a way more powerful search engine than anything that had ever existed before with transformers. By optimizing exactly for what customers want. It took a long time to get to here. And we've made a lot of, research breakthroughs and had to scale up our engineering like crazy. Now we have most of the web in our index. And now we get to do all these really interesting partnerships where we could like control the search however you want. So I mean, like now it's quite good, but I think in a few years, as we continue to work together, like users are going to be able to have literally like what we want is perfect information. Like it's not just restaurants, it's like everything. It's like every blog post that matters to you, every news article, every piece of content that could possibly be valuable. One way of saying it is like no more FOMO, no more fear of missing out on the information that's most valuable. All right, so what brought you to Firefox?
Back in that, I was like, I've sort of worked between like big tech companies and startups. And oftentimes when there's a big change in technology is where platforms get decided. And so you see this with the web, you see this with mobile, and now with AI, it's like a big platform shift. And to me, one of the reasons that the internet was always amazing is because there weren't gatekeepers, that there weren't these middlemen who were deciding what people could access and not access. And so Firefox has always been in that position of protecting and keeping an open internet. And I think that just like matters more than ever, especially as you see that there are not a lot of choices in terms of like browser engines. Like things have consolidated on Chromium, like other major browsers are all built on top of Chromium. And so having this like engine that can actually make sure that people can customize it, it's open source, people can access the information they want, is just like very important to me personally. And I think Firefox is in a great position to make sure that there is competition, that even no matter what happens with Firefox, like the fact that there is a choice makes it so that other companies and other products have to do what's in the best interest of users.
It's also super important to the world. Like if you think about the things we're talking about here, it's like the internet, information. These are core foundational aspects to humanity, and it's like it's crazy we both get to play a role in it. And I think like even a 10% improvement to any of these things will have a huge impact. Things are changing so quickly, right? So it's like like the fact that things are changing means there's new opportunities everywhere to like rethink how the internet and how information works. The internet is the world's coordination system, right? And you might ask yourself, like, are we coordinating as a world optimally? I think it's a lot better than maybe like 50 years ago, but certainly it's not optimal. And so when I think about EXO, when I think about Firefox, I'm thinking like, how can we coordinate the world through the internet, through information in a much better way? And I think because of AI, it unlocks so many new things like smart windows, quick answers. These are just like baby steps towards like a way better coordination system.
I think a lot of times like people take things for granted that information is like easily accessible and you can get whatever information you want. But definitely, I think things that we may not have imagined could happen many years ago, like misinformation or, certain claims from government that this is what happened when it may or may not be factual. That is not a guaranteed right. Like it's, I think, up to us to like defend it and make sure that people have access to information. And so like having the resources that EXA provides, like say that this is like information grounded in truth and this is objective information. And so when someone asks a question, like we can actually give them something that's not like, a biased or governmental like slant on it that is actually happened many places in the world. I think is just really important for human freedom and privacy and rights.
Yeah, I mean, we should not accept misinformation. Like this is something core to EXA. Like we want to be able to fix it as best we can. I think it's hard to be perfect, but you could definitely be way better than anything that currently exists. And this is so critical to fix. Like, yeah, we should think of misinformation as an error in our civilization that we should fix. In the same way, like if we had like corrupted water, we would just fix it as a society. I think people have not tried to fix misinformation with the same urgency. That's what we're trying to do. And part of fixing it, by the way, is like not declaring what is true, but giving people choice and giving them flexibility. And so you need like a healthy ecosystem of different players in order to give people choice.
The browser is an interesting term in and of itself because a browser kind of implies that people are using this application in order to like go on the next page, click. But we're seeing that that's changing pretty quickly. And so there's a few dimensions that'll change. One is just multimodal interfaces. So people using voice, people using images, people giving information a different way. It's one thing that we've started using with EXA and quick answers. It's an entirely voice-based interface, which we're pretty excited about. Another big area that we're investing in is the idea if a web page changes from browsing to actually it's something that's more interactive. So say I am going on a vacation to Europe and I'm like, there's a page for my hotel, there's a page for my airline, there's a page for sites that I want to see. Rather than having like bookmarks of all these like different sites, can I generate a web app on the fly that consolidates like all this information? It gives me the latest information. It's an important thing with like X is like, restaurants change, their hours change. Like we can kind of use this like search branding in order to like keep this web app like up to date. So all this is basically to say like the web goes from more and more from a static point to a multimodal like interactive web app that touches all these like APIs, brings all this information together into a format that I can consume easier.
One way of thinking about it, the browser that I've been thinking about is like, it used to be a portal to the internet. You would go to it and it like routes you to something, to some piece of content. And now the browser feels like it's becoming an assistant. So not only does it route you, but it also asks you questions or helps you along the way and guides you. Like, oh, have you considered this? It knows, some things about you, so it could, maybe route you to things you didn't even know about, right? So going from a portal to an assistant is a big step change. I wonder, and that's where we're currently in, and it's going to get a lot better. It's going to go from like a solid assistant to like the best assistant ever. Another big moment I would say was GPT-4. We knew GPT-4 was going to come out, and I made a bet with my friend that it wouldn't be able to solve this like complex physics, like mechanics problem that I had made up. And so the second GPT-4 came out, I type in the problem to GPT-4, I press enter, and I see it just methodically think through the problem and arrive at the right answer. And I actually fell on the floor, like my knees collapsed, like the real thing. My knees collapsed and I was just like, okay, this is like, if you just see the change from GB3 to GB4 and you just like project where things are going, it's gonna get pretty wild.
And the last like few years, it's just been, if you just like look at the lines and then you like extrapolate them, it's been pretty incredible. And even things that we thought weren't possible a year ago, in the last year, it's been incredible, like how powerful things have gone. And we've published a lot of this on Firefox, but we're using Firefox to really help with our detecting for security vulnerabilities. And in an average month, we would find about 20 of these and resolve them. And then with AI, you can kind of see some of the graphs we published. There were months where we found 200 plus. So you can almost imagine like a 10x increase in our ability to detect and solve some of these things. And this is like inconceivable. And it's because AI does some things really good that humans don't do. And so things like relentlessly trying to test. Well, a human is going to get bored. It's going to lack energy, but it's like AI, it will just keep trying. And so that's where if we just look at the trajectory, for us, we're really excited about not just our ability to bring AI to users, but also with Firefox, like we're a much smaller company than our competitors, which are all trillion-dollar companies building browsers. But it allows us to compete with companies that have much more resources and are much bigger than us, which I think over the next year, it puts us in a position to really exceed what anyone else is doing, because our interests have always been better, but now we have the resources to make it happen as well.
Yeah, I think on the speed at which things develop in AI, it is crazy, and it tells you where things are going. So again, like this is just the first steps, like smart window, quick answers, like now to answer questions, soon it could buy you plane tickets, and then eventually it might do your taxes, right? It's like, and things will change really quickly. The partnership we have here, I think could be inspiring to other tools across the AI ecosystem, because we're both very excited about decentralization, about like there being lots of different optionality. And I think if all sorts of tools partner together, not just us, but could be anyone out there in the ecosystem, it just makes the ecosystem healthier. Like we should not all live in our bubbles. We should partner. We should combine browsers with search and all other tools to make any pocket of the world really powerful, whether it's in Europe and Asia and America. It's not just SF.
We're really excited about this partnership because we think both companies are the best at what we each do. And so we want to spend all our resources on building the best browser. If we have more engineers, we're like, how can we just focus laser focus on building the best browser? And many people who use the browser want all the features that Exa allows us to provide them. And so for us, like this makes us have our focus, and also we can use its great product, Nexa. And without Exa, we couldn't build these great features. And so that's why it's like so important for us that Exa exists and provides us this great, easy to use tool that is able to do search grounding, retrieval in a private way that our users love and appreciate.
And it's gonna get a lot better really fast. Like we were that's great. We have a lot of really cool engineering and some research breakthroughs that we're gonna be releasing soon. So the search will get very, very precise, high recall, and all the flexibility that you guys want. Yeah, well, this has been really fun, and it really is just the beginning of this partnership, and there's so many cool things we could build together.
It was great chatting, and really excited about this first launch, but also so excited about all the improvements and breakthroughs that Exa is working on to bring even better functionality to our users over the coming years.
Let's go.